Okay, on number 1, we have patient G is receiving Coumadin 1.5 milligrams daily due to a history of a stroke. His INR results are 2.3. The therapeutic range for a patient on Coumadin should be between 2.0 and 3.0. So, which of the following is expected for this patient? So, answer A says that we need to continue the same dose and return in 2 weeks for a regular INR check. I would expect that to be an answer if everything was fine where they say it should be. And if we're looking at our INR results of a 2.3, 2.3 is between 2.0 and 3.0. So it's within the correct range. We could say that A is going to be our correct answer, that all is fine. The dose that he's been running with is giving him good INR numbers, so we're good to go. We can keep doing the same thing. I did want to discuss these other answers though. Part B says if we're going to hold the Coumadin dose and give the patient a vitamin K injection. So if you're going to hold the anticoagulation medication and not give it anymore, that means that you think you might have too much in their system. If you're going to give the vitamin K injection, then yes, the vitamin K is the antidote for Coumadin. So that one's going to be if the blood gets too thin. So if that 2.3 is actually bigger than the 3.0, we would be answering part B, right? Part C. C says that we increase the Coumadin to 2 milligrams per day. So he had been running with 1.5. So if we increase it to 2 milligrams per day, we would say we could expect that if the INR results are not, if they're too low, if they were smaller than that 2.0, then we would expect to see an increase in the Coumadin. And that's not to say that you as a nurse would get to make that decision. Okay, that would be up to the doctor, but it is always good to understand what's happening with these anticoagulation medications, because it's just, there's a lot that can go wrong if the wrong dose is prescribed. So it's good for you to be able to understand it and question what's happening if it's not right. Part D says that we're going to order an APTT test to confirm the INR, and that's the wrong test. Okay, APTT is not the test for Coumadin. Coumadin is going to use the INR and then a PT as a backup or to kind of go along with the INR test. So the APTT test is not what we use for Coumadin. All right, let's look at number 2. Number 2 says that patient H is receiving the same 1.5 milligram dose of Coumadin, but her INR results are 0.7. So what would we expect for this patient? So it looks like everything's the same, continue the same dose and return, but hers is not within that correct range, right? That 0.7 is too low for the recommended range of 2.0 to 3.0. So we're not going to go with part A because that would mean that all is fine. If we're going to hold the Coumadin dose and give the patient that antidote, that would mean that we've got too much of the Coumadin in their system, and that's not the case either. It's too low. That 0.7 is too low. But if it was running like a 3.5, then yes, we would answer part B. So I think we're looking at answer C. The blood is actually too thick, so we are going to have to increase the anticoagulation meds to 2 milligrams per day. And again, not us, but the doctor. We would see that he would increase the Coumadin to 2 milligrams per day because the blood is too thick. Okay, so let's look at number 3. That's a little different here. Patient J had a PT test ordered, and the PT was reported back at 17 seconds. The lab control value is 16 seconds, but for this specific patient, the therapeutic PT time is going to run 1.5 to 2 times the control value. So what is the desired PT range for this client? Okay, so this PT test, typically a lab control value is 16 seconds. Okay, that's for somebody who's not had any anticoagulation medication within their system. Okay, I get that 17 seconds is close to the 16 seconds, but that's not what patient J should be reported at. Okay, so this first question here, it's asking us what is the desired PT range for this client. And remember, it did tell us that we're going to do 1.5 to 2 times the control value. Okay, and our control value is the 16. So we're going to do 1.5 times the 16, and we're going to do a 2 times the 16. Okay, 1.5 to 2 times the control value of 16 seconds. So we run the math, and we get 24 seconds and 32 seconds. So there's our answer there, that for this specific patient, patient J, the desired PT range is going to be 24 to 32 seconds. Now, the next question is going to ask about that 17 seconds. Are we okay with that? Is that a good number for this specific patient? So, number 4 says patient J, as mentioned in number 3, what's the evaluation of the PT results? So, part A says a client's value should be at 16 seconds. The client is receiving too much anticoagulant, or needs a higher dose, or the value is within range. So just to remind you, the patient's lab showed 17 seconds, but we found that the therapeutic range should be 24 to 32 seconds. So 17 is a little low, right? It's not in that 24 to 32. So that means that it's clotting too quickly, right? It's clotting at 17 seconds instead of waiting for 24 to 32 seconds to clot. So it's clotting too quickly, means it's too thick. We need to actually thin the blood down some more. So we're going to need more anticoagulation meds. So following that line of thought, then we can come over here and look at our answers again. We know it shouldn't be 16 seconds because they've been getting some anticoagulation meds. We said we're going to need more anticoagulation med, right? So I think we're going to have to go with answer C. We need to do a higher dose of the anticoagulant. All right, number 5 says patient L has an INR drawn, and the results are 3.2, but therapeutic range for the patient on Coumadin is 2.0 to 3.0. So what conclusions can be drawn? Well, 3.2 is a little past that 3.0, right? It's a little too high. So the client's in danger of forming blood clots, in danger of bleeding from excessive anticoagulation. The results are within normal range. Well, we can cancel out C. It's not normal. It's a little on the high end. So it's taken it too long to clot, all right? Which means the anticoagulation meds need to be decreased. Okay, it's taken it too long to clot. It's very, very thin. All right, so we need less blood thinners, less anticoagulation meds. So it's a bit backwards when you're thinking about this. We actually need less medication because it's taken too long to clot. So I think we're going to have to go with answer B here. The client is in danger of bleeding from excessive anticoagulations.